There she is. Hello. How
Hi.
are we?
I think that one of my favorite things was you were like the great, the legend, and somebody wrote, I don't know who that is.
Well, they're going to get to know you real well and be regretting that they didn't know before. That's what we're here for. Make people regret what they didn't know.
I kept getting these emails from Power the Polls, and they kept saying, thank the poll workers for the work they do. And I was like, thank the poll workers? Like, I want to be the poll worker. I've always voted in New York. I have been a California resident for 2 or 3 months. And I was like, you know what? New license, new registration, new way of voting. And also, I thought that it would allow me to learn about the California voting system. So, for people who aren't in the United States, this can seem like completely crazy that not every state votes in the same way. I mean, for me, like New York, which is like real, like kind of scary right now with the governor race, but relatively liberal, it's like, wait, why is it so archaic? And California makes it so easy to vote. I do believe that as fragile and in many ways broken our democracy is, we're so lucky to be in a place where we can show up and vote. Sometimes people came in, they were like, well, who did you vote for? And it's like, nope, we're not talking about who's voting for who here. We're talking about just showing up to vote. So those were like two moments where I was like, yeah, one was, very like beautiful, and the other one was like, I have to learn how to mitigate the situation of how we like. I'm not going to tell you who I voted for, even though I'm like, let me tell you why you need to vote for this person and how you need to vote for it. It's like, that's not what I'm here for. This whole movement that on the ultra far right of, anti-critical race theory in elementary schools and just like stuff that really doesn't make much sense. But these people are at their school board meetings, and why can't we be there too? So just kind of starting to learn what are the local ways in which you can get involved. Biden's there, Biden's president, and right now, like, it's, basically 50-50, 51-50 in the House, in the Senate with Kamala, and we still have the House, the Democrats still have the House. Like, but what does that mean? Because when we start to not have, when we're not seeing the same way, it is so important to fight for the truth. I mean, it sounds so crazy, but it's like, I spent a plane ride from Los Angeles to New York sitting next to a man who I was able to have a conversation with. We voted for two different candidates for LA mayor, and it felt like a conversation. I did not agree with him, but he was like, I voted for this person. Let me tell you why.
Right.
And tells me why. And then I was like, I voted for this person and let me tell you why. And we had this conversation, and I came away with something. And he obviously went away with something. He was smart, man, listened. And I was like, I feel like this is what, for our parents' generation, it was like maybe in the 80s and 90s, where you could be like, we agree on the problem, but we don't agree with how to fix it. We're not there.
Right.
We're so far away from that for me, it wasn't necessarily an issue thing. I mean, yes, there's the overturning Roe versus Wade, there's inflation, I mean, as horrible as like the Republic losing the Congress and the Senate and to the right and all this, and like eventually getting like a far right leader like Trump or someone like him again would be horrible. It's like for the US, it's also horrible internationally.
Right.
It's just the US is a leader in ways that is that is so far removed from so many vocal people who seem to speak for the United States, and they're so far removed, and it's just, yeah. So I think that I was motivated a lot by the foreign aspect of it, the foreign policy aspect of it, and the idea where it's like, wait, we don't even agree on what the problems are, let alone how to fix them. We're not reading the same thing, we're not watching the same thing, we have different things. I just remember one day my parents would get the newspaper delivered every morning on our apartment step, and one day my mother said to me, like the New York Times would do, it was like they would recap the articles, and my mom was like, read the recaps of the article so you can talk about it with your dad. And I was like, what? Like, my dad like disappointed in me? He doesn't think I'm smart? That became like, I just started reading about it. My dad is a journalist and he worked a long time for the United Nations. So there was always this sort of awareness of what else, and using your voice, and injustice basically was pervasive in the discourse. And I guess for a really long time, I felt quite like, what do these politicians do? Like, or we elect them, it's like, oh, yay, Democrats, oh, no, Republicans. But it's like, it's so much deeper than that now. It's like, you just feel like, what do I have in common with you? Like, why would I vote for you? Especially for young people. Like,
absolutely.
When our parents were our age, they had people closer to their age that they were able to vote for. We have people who are refusing to relinquish power. Like, give us a chance.
Right. Okay.
I think it's unfair to expect anyone who's not from elected office to be responsible for society in a way, which is why I have such a problem with like the Elon Musks of the world who use the power they have to then interfere with what should be a more level platform for people to be able to discuss or live in society, basically.
Right.
I have this argument or a discussion a lot with some friends who are always so critical of celebrities or people with big followings who post, and they go, it's all demonstration. It's all demonstration. And on the one hand, it's like, yeah, it's all demonstration, but you have such a big audience that maybe someone who admires you is like, oh, there's this, and takes
one person. Just one.
All of a sudden they're like, well, I want to run for public office. All I see is that when people have opinions, critical thinking is necessary. And do not be afraid to have an opinion. Have your opinion and then be able to discuss it, be able to talk about it. It's not just like, oh, we're all past posting a black square. Like, I'm just gonna, sorry. I'm just going to post. Oh my God, I'm done.
The passion is just, oh, that's what's happening.
That's exactly it.
You're good. But I totally understand what you're saying.
Knowledge is power, and it's empowerment. I feel solid enough in my opinion that then if you come at me with your opinions, I feel like we can have a discussion, and it's less about right and wrong.
Would you ever run for office?
Okay, like... I think I would. Like, I'm obsessed with, like, I'm really into this right now. I would love to be on, like, a school board. I would love to be, like, you know what I would love? I would love any sort of elected position, but not, like, I don't want to be a congresswoman. I don't, senator. Like, I'm not trying to run for president. Like, but I would love to be in something where you're forced to dialogue and to kind of understand and be able to speak for many different people. I think that is such an important role. I never had a civics class. I also never had a class where I learned to pay my taxes. Those are probably two of the most important things that make you a citizen. Like, you be able to do that. And I'm like, well, why don't we try and propose that at, like, public school meetings, why don't we try and so in that I'm like, oh God, it's like something I feel like it could be attainable, but I don't know if I would actually do it, but I do know that like I really have a taste for it now. The United States of America tend to have too many elections. We live in this fast world where you're not teaching people how to read ballots or like why the city controller is important or how you would even look up who they are. You're not teaching them that. It's hard stuff. It's civics. It's a class. There need to be fewer elections, and the system needs to be like much easier.